LA Knits. I think it's episode 75, and really all we're going to be talking about today is Rhinebeck. It's Monday, October 17th, and it's the day after Rhinebeck. I took today off from work because I knew I would need recovery time. It was a blast, and really all I'm going to show you today is what I bought, talk about what I did, who I saw, and just fill you guys in on the details. I will show you a little bit. I brought my I bought my Big Bad Burgalong project. I was trying really hard to get it done for Rhinebeck, and honestly, it just was not enough time, but I am like this close to being done. So let me get right to it. Let me talk to you about Rhinebeck. First, let me tell you, I am at Croton Point Park again. Not Croton Point Park, sorry. Senasqua Park in Croton, New York. And that, of course, is the Hudson River behind me. And my husband's here. He's behind the camera over there. And we're just relaxing and enjoying a beautiful day. So, wow. So where do I start? I took Friday off as well. And a bunch of the ladies going to Rhinebeck. Me, Sandy, Lori, my husband Mark came. We all went out for dinner. We do that we've been doing that every year because Lori, who comes up from Tennessee, it's her birthday. It was her birthday Saturday. So, and her birthday usually does coincide with Rhinebeck. So that was fun. Mark and I got up early Saturday morning. I think around 6 o'clock, and we hit the road around 7:30, just me and Mark. Sandy and Lori took their own car because they had to leave early. They had an event they had to go to Saturday evening, so they left I think around 1. And it was just me and Mark really this year. There wasn't a whole gang of us from the knitting group. A lot of the ladies just either had other things that they had to do, or they did not feel the need to stash in hands. I don't understand that concept myself, but that's what they said. But I have to say that I was kind of feeling, and don't laugh, Mark, my husband's behind you. I didn't know what I could possibly buy. I didn't need anything. You can't even look at me. And I didn't think I was going to buy a lot of yarn. I don't think I bought a lot of yarn, but I bought some yarn. Because I also did, like I think I shared last week. Oh, you know what? I should have brought it, but I didn't. I pre-ordered, I guess you could say, a sweater's worth of Spirit Trail Fiberworks Beard Tay in the black cherry colorway. So if you're not familiar with Spirit Trail Fiberworks, she's an independent dyer. She has a booth at Rhinebeck, and I think we could safely say she's my favorite yarn dyer. She does some variegated, but not wildly variegated, and then she does some what would you call it? Not like kettle dyed looking, like, so just I forget the word for it, but you know, when it's more or less the same color but not super solid, you'll have tonal variations. But most of her yarn, her dyes are semi-solid or solid colors, and she does luxury fibers, and I really love her yarn. So I ordered that sweater worth of Beard Tay, and she ended up mailing it to me. I got it Thursday before Rhinebeck. She decided to mail it so she wouldn't have to worry about it and juggle it around when she got to Rhinebeck. So I had that, and that was a big dollar purchase. It's a luxury yarn Beard Tay. It's merino cashmere and silk, which is perfect because it will have a lot of have a lot of drape. It will be super soft, but because of the silk, it won't be as pilly as other yarns that have cashmere in it, or just merino, because they pill right up. I knit a merino sweater last year by Amy Miller, the ice shanty sweater, and it pills like crazy. It's 100% merino. It's Miss Bab's Heartland yarn. Pills like crazy. I will never knit a sweater out of 100% merino again. So this should be much better. Lesson learned. I still love the Heartland. I still love the sweater, the ice shanty sweater, but I have to constantly depill it, which is a pain. So I have that, and I'll insert a picture here of the yarn. I took some good pictures of it already. And that I'm going to make the Amy Herzog Mine Hill cardigan with. It's a very simple, kind of classy cardigan. No buttons. It's drapey and open in the front. It's something I could wear casually, or I could wear to work. And the black cherry is a color that will go with a lot of different outfits. So I'm really, I think it's a good investment. So that was my first Rhinebeck purchase, you could say. When we got there, Mark and I split up. We decided to, Mark likes to do the foodie stuff, and I of course like to yarn shop. So I went into the big barns and I took a peek to Miss Bab's, and it was packed. I kind of expected it. I was hoping to get into the Whirled, but that was packed as well. And I even went back to Lisa Souza yarns, and this year I didn't buy any of her yarns. Usually I do. She has great prices, really nice dye jobs. I like her colors, but I just didn't see anything that really appealed to me, and I needed a lot of appeal factor to buy yarn this year. So I went to a pottery person, a ceramic person that I think last year was the first year she was there. Sells mugs and yarn bowls and things like that. And she sells them for not quite half, but a lot less than Jenny the Potter. It's a different style though, a completely different style, and it could be that there's less work that goes into her items, her artwork, than Jenny the Potter. But because Jenny the Potter, it's almost impossible to get something from her at Rhinebeck, I just go right to her, and I picked a mug. I got a huge mug with a goat and a sheep on it, and I got a beautiful yarn bowl for about the price of one Jenny the Potter mug. So I was really happy with that. There was another potter there that I don't know if they're a repeat. If they've been there before, I didn't notice them. I should have grabbed a card, but I didn't. Their stuff was gorgeous, but it was like, and I know why. It was very intricate. So she actually did artwork with the clay, and the painting was much more detailed. But it was like $80 for a mug. It was like very expensive, but you could tell a lot more work went into it. It was beautiful to look at, but I would never use a mug that I had to pay $80 for. I'd be too afraid of breaking it, so I didn't get anything there. Gorgeous, gorgeous work. So that was the first thing I did. I didn't bring it here with me to the beach because obviously it's breakable, but I will put pictures in here. Nice close-up pictures for you to see. And let me show you, I brought all the business cards I collected, so let me show you her business card. We'll get them out here. Alright. So she was Stacy Stanhope Dundon. Now last year I remember she didn't have a card, she didn't have a website, not anything. She just wrote her email down for me, and I said, you really should come to an event like this with cards. So this year she did have cards, but she said she only sells at, she doesn't sell anything online. She only sells at events like this. But anyway, she's from Orwell, Vermont, and she has her email as Potter 770@yahoo.com. But here's her card. So that was my first purchase. And then I went over to say hello to Jennifer at Spirit Trail Fiberworks. Now Jennifer has been blogging, posting sweaters and new colors leading up to Rhinebeck. Every week she has shown a new color and a new sweater. She's done some giveaways. My first purchase was at her booth, and let me here. I bought 3 skeins of Suna. Suna is my favorite yarn. It's a fingering weight, but it's very heavy fingering weight, and it's what I'm knitting my Melanie Berg shawl with. It is 75% superwash merino, 15% cashmere, and 10% bombyx silk. I bought these 3 skeins. These are new colorways. I don't know if this is natural, so it's obviously it's undyed. But these 2 are new colors. They're not showing up well. It's kind of dark overcast, but this is called Harvest, and it's this beautiful golden brown with orangey and reddish brown blasts of color here and there. You don't see stuff like this much from her. Like I said, most of her stuff is monotone. Ooh, caught it. This is also a new color called Glacier. I fell in love with this when she shared it online and knew I had to buy one. It's a beautiful, beautiful blue. And lastly, I bought a natural just to kind of offset the other colors. And I needed some neutrals to use for some of my shawl projects. So I'm not sure if these necessarily will all be together in one shawl. But one of the things that I can see Jennifer did really nicely with her new colors that she's done is that they all go well together. You can match them, like this Glacier with the black cherry I bought would be just gorgeous. Really, really gorgeous. But it also goes with this golden brown. I really like it with this, so who knows what I'll do with it. I also bought one of her contrasting color kits. This is also Suna, I'm sorry. And it is 1 skein of the natural, 100 grams. This is called, the red is called Celestial. This is, the blue here is called Toil. And I don't know if I'm saying this, Toil de Joy. And this first one here is called South Pacific. I hope you can see them. The South Pacific is very teal. The Toil de Joy is a very basic blue. And the Celestial is almost like a maroon, a very red maroon, and the natural, of course, is natural. I'm thinking a cowl with this, but I'm not sure. I could also use that extra skein of natural with this, and just use these for colors for like a half shawl. So that's also a possibility. So that is my Spirit Trail Fiberwork purchase. Her skeins are, like I said, a little expensive. They go for $34. I can tell you from past experience, the put out is 150 grams, which is is basically 4 ounces. You get 350 yards out of that. It is a heavy finger weight, but almost every skein I've ever purchased from her weighs a lot more than 115 grams. She definitely gives you a little extra with every skein, so I'm just saying. So that was that. Then I just started looking around, and again, I was more about meeting people that day. I think I did run into Mark a couple of times. I went back and forth meeting up with Mark and looking at things together. But the other thing I got while we were looking for this Angora, Cozy Colorworks is they make Angora and Angora blends. I knew I wanted to get some from them. I got some from them at Vogue Knitting Live years ago, and I basically wanted to get more to make another pair of fingerless mitts. I made a pair of fingerless mitts with their homespun, and the gauge is very inconsistent in the homespun, but I did buy one skein to use as like a accent. But I bought their Merino Angora blend to actually use for the mitts. It will be more stable, it'll be more well defined, and these were not spun by hand, so they're more consistent. And I brought a nice dusty pink for an accent. This was on my list of things to get. I don't have a lot of pair of fingerless mitts, and I really want to get some. I really want to knit some more for my hand knit collection. So this I got, and again, that's from Cozy Colorworks. Let me show you their card. Here. Here's what the front looks like. And here's the information on the back. CozyColorworks.com. Right. So that was the only other thing I wanted to do. I did not make it to the Ravelry meetup, but because I was on a rather long line for the ladies' room, but I did run into Paula from Knitting Pipeline, and that was really cool. I was right behind her on the line, so that was a nice visit. I did make it to the podcaster meetup. Mark came with me, and the morning was really cool, and my very heavy Rhinebeck sweater was great in the morning, but come noontime, Mark and I were both dying, and so I just wore it to the podcaster meetup, and then Mark and I went right to, actually we went to the Harrisville Designs booth. Sorry, train's coming by. I'll just wait a sec. Yeah, so the podcaster meetup was fantastic. I actually ran into Sharon from Moms with Yarn earlier in one of the barns. I had left the area where the Spirit Trail Fiber works, and I went to some of the barns at the very, very other end of the fairgrounds, thinking that they'd be less crowded, and that's where I found Sharon, and it was so good to see Sharon again. I love Sharon. Sharon V is with the Moms with Yarn podcast. You should check it out. She's so funny, and she actually just published her first pattern, which is a pair of socks. So I saw her there, and we took our annual selfies together, and her motto is, "We be moms and we got yarns," and we were just having so much fun. So I ran into her. I ran into Emily from Fibertown. She saw me first, and it was great to see Emily again. And I met Sarah from Fiber Trek. I met Clara from New Hampshire Knits, and I didn't know it. I actually I was with Sharon, and she's like, "Do you know this is Clara?" I'm like, "Oh, hi, Clara." She goes, like, "New Hampshire Knits," and I'm like, then I was like squealing. So that she is the sweetest person you could ever want to meet, Clara. So she was at the podcaster meetup. I hung around with Sarah, Lisa from Saratoga Knitter, who is formerly Ichigo Podcast, which is now Knitting by the Sea, another great podcast. Who else did we see? So Lisa was there with her sister-in-law, and let's Stacy. I saw Joanna Springs and her husband Bill. I got to meet them. And yes, Joanna, you are taller than I expected. I was very surprised at how tall you are. And it was really great meeting her. I have a lot of Joanna's bags and I bought some of her fiber. So it was really great to meet her, and I've been watching her podcast for forever. I love seeing, going around her farm and seeing everything. So I saw from afar Amy Beth, Fat Squirrel, but she actually had a line of people waiting to say hi to her. So I kind of, passed up that opportunity. I've met her in prior podcasts. I miss Sheila from Knit One Heart too. I didn't see her there. I also didn't see Emily from Knitting Butterflies, which I was hoping to see, but I did catch up with her the next day, so it was okay. Who else did I see? Who else? Oh my gosh, so many podcasters, and so many people came up thanking me for podcasting, which was really, really nice, because I know sometimes I know I will always podcast, at least as far in the foreseeable future as I can imagine, because I love doing it, and that's really what's important. But it's nice to know that people are watching and that they appreciate it, because it is work, carrying everything, planning, editing, the time and the costs, and to know that people are watching and that they appreciate it means a whole lot. So for everyone that came up to me and waved to me and shouted out my name, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much it means to me. So I ran into Christian Crafter also, speaking of people thanking me, and I have to say, I didn't bring them with me, but she dropped off her senior love-along items that she's made thus far. She doesn't call herself, I think she's Christian Crafter still on Ravelry, but on Instagram, Bag Lady or something like that. But she knit these bags with zippers that the patients at the nursing home can tie to their wheelchair, and I was just like so impressed. So a big thank you, and it was so great to meet you. So anyway, podcaster meetup was great. I had a great time there. We left a little bit before it ended, Mark and I, because I wanted to go to the Harrisville's design booth to show them my sweater, which I made with their turbine, their bulky weight yarn. And they were really happy to see me, and they loved the sweater, and they took a picture and they posted it to their Instagram, so that was really cool. They were so nice. You could tell they really appreciated that people were coming to their booth and showing the projects that have been made with their yarn, and that it meant a lot to them. So that was really rewarding. Then Mark and I went to the car and we ditched our sweaters. I had brought a shawl to walk around with, and that ended up being perfect for the rest of the day because it did warm up quite a bit. What did we eat? We ate for lunch. I did a Greek gyro, and Mark did seafood. I think he did fried calamari, because the lines were short for those. Everything else had long lines. It was very crowded. And then we had apple crisp with double scoops of ice cream for dessert. We enjoyed that a lot. It was quite delicious. The Yellow Jackets enjoyed it too. I did do a little more shopping after that. Let me see what else is in here that I got. When I was searching for the Harrisville Designs booth, I walked by this vendor that I didn't recognize. Hello. And I really was drawn to their colors, and I wanted to go back to their booth and check it out. And let me show you their card. They're called Old Wool. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry, the battery ran out on the camera and we changed it out. But I was talking about Old Wool. And here's the 3 colors I bought from them, all fingering weight. This is Sheep Laurel. It's a beautiful orchidy purple. Love this shade of purple. Again, this one's called Trillium. It's like a wheat yellow, a golden wheat yellow. And this is like a powdery blue. It's called Spring House. And I really love it. It's not really a sky blue. It's just a powdery blue. A baby blue, if you will. And I just love it. And I loved all 3 colors together. I don't know what I'm going to make with it. Definitely would like to make a shawl or something, but love the colors. Love them together. Just love them. I wanted to buy more, but I contained myself. So that's all I bought the first day. Mark and I stayed a little while longer. We actually left around 4, a little earlier than they closed. It was quieting down. There were people sitting on the hill, but Mark was getting tired. I was getting tired. Originally, I was thinking I would take a little nap in the car before driving home. It's like an hour drive for us, maybe a little longer. But we didn't, which was a good thing because it took us almost 2 hours to get home. I did take a little detour. We were thinking we would have dinner in Cold Spring, New York, which is, I don't know, 45 minutes south of Rhinebeck. Right on the river, there's this beautiful restaurant. What's the name of that restaurant? Lookout?
Riverview.
But it was packed. I just couldn't believe it. Riverview takes cash only, but they are right on the river, have a beautiful windows so you could see out, great food, and again, like I said, we got there and the place was just packed. But not only that place, the whole town was packed because it's right near the hiking trails known as Breakneck, and I guess people had come up from the city. There's a train station in Cold Spring off the Hudson line, and it was just swarming with people from the city. Hikers were all over the place, and it's a great thing. I'm glad people are coming up and enjoying the area and bringing the business in and stuff, but I'd rather eat there on a day when it's a little more quiet. So we ended up coming home and going to a local restaurant in Peekskill that we both like, called the Quiet Man. But it was nice, but it was a long day. It took us 2 hours because we did kind of veer off of Route 9 and went to 9D, which runs right along the river, through Beacon and through Cold Spring, which took a long time because I had to drive very slow because there were just people everywhere, like literally all over the place. So that being said, it was a great day. I got home and went right to bed. I was exhausted, and it was 8:30, and I haven't gone to bed at 8:30 since like 3rd grade. That's how tired I was. So, and Mark was like, you know it's only 8:30. You sure you want to go? I'm like, I'm going to bed. And I got up Sunday morning and I felt like I could have slept another 5 hours. That's how tired I was. But we got up, we picked up my mother-in-law. She came with us on Sunday. We packed her wheelchair because she can't really walk for long distances, and it just worked out really nice. Her and Mark did their own thing for a little while, and then I would find them. There were 2 things I wanted to do Sunday. One was to meet Emily from the Butterfly Knits. I really wanted to meet her in person. Emily and I started podcasting on iTunes around the same time, and we really helped each other out in the beginning, and so I just kind of feel like a kinship with her, or a sisterhood, or if you will. And so I wanted to meet her in person, and I did. I got to meet her. What was really cool was my husband, my mother, and I went back and we were watching a sheep judging thing, and it was really cool to watch them, the judge evaluate the sheep and everything, and then he finally picked his order. But I'll put some pictures of that, and I think my husband got some video of that, which I'll add.
Nothing else to do. It's like a brand, it's like a Bouvier de Flanders dog almost.
And after that, I think I had posted a picture of it, and Emily said, I have to meet you today, and this is all on Instagram. And I said, well, I'm heading over to get some apple cider donuts. So that's where I am now, you know, thinking if she's in that general area, she could find me. And my husband and my mother-in-law were waiting at the bottom of the hill because he didn't want to push my mother-in-law up another hill. So I get online, and she apparently was online for apple cider donuts at the same time as me, and it just worked out perfectly. And actually a friend of hers was at the beginning of the line and ended up buying like a dozen donuts and handing them out to us, so we didn't even have to wait on the whole line for our donuts. But I have some pictures here of the group of us. Kristi from In a Snit podcast was with us. I don't remember who the woman was. I really apologize for that. I'll have to find out from Emily who that was, because, and I'm not sure if she has a podcast that I'm not familiar with. And it was her husband Pete. I remember his name because he bought the donuts for us and was so generous to give them out to us. So we got some pictures with that, some pictures of me with Emily and Kristen, and it was just really cool. They're such wonderful people. They were both so nice, and we had a great time. We were talking about podcasting, how we got started, all that stuff. And I was just happy for Emily that she got a chance to come up here and do this. I know it's not easy when you're a mom with young children to get away and be able to do stuff like this, so I was really excited for her. And it was just, that was a highlight of Sunday, I would say. I got to watch the blacksmith for a while on Sunday, and spent a lot of time with my mother-in-law and my husband on Sunday, which was awesome. Sandy got there late with Lori. That was the day they planned to do their shopping, so I hung out with them for a little while. Sandy actually didn't buy any yarn, amazingly, but her friend Lori did. But one of the things I wanted to do on Sunday was get to Miss Babs and get to Into the Whirl. I had some things specifically in mind that I wanted to get from Miss Babs. And I'm going to show you, these are purchases from a prior year. This is from, I think, last year. This is her gradient set called Eucalyptus. And it's beautiful, like gray blues, gray greens, light browns, pinky brown, like a mauve and a hot pink. I absolutely love these colors. And this one is a gray gradient. I do love the colors. I love gray, and I love these shades of gray, but I wanted to buy a nice color to pop out, like a nice splash of color to mix in with it, and knit a shawl with that would just make it come alive, if you will. So I went to her booth, Miss Babs, even though it was still overcrowded, and I got 2 skeins from her booth with the help of one of her lovely assistants there, who helped me decide on colors. So I didn't bring these with me, but she had sets there, so we grabbed one. And for this, I told her I liked the softness of it. I didn't want some crazy electric color for this particular set, but I wanted something, but I was okay with dark, and I wanted something kind of earthy and natural looking. So we picked this dark brown called Cocoa, and it's really lovely. And it actually, I don't know if you can see it, you can see there's some pink undertones in this, so it will go very well with this gradient set. And so I'm going to knit Carol Feller's pattern with this from her new book. And I can't remember the name of it, but I'll maybe put a banner here so you can see what I have in mind. But this I'm looking forward to knitting this. This is gonna pop up in my queue because this will be knit probably within the next year at the very least. So with the grays, I decided I did want something a little alive, but I don't like the neon stuff. I love green, and I picked this one because it does have a little bit of electricity to it, if you will. And you can see it's a little neon-y there, but it's not really neon, it's just bright. And the other shades of green, which I think are very kind of foresty, they kind of bring it down to earth a little. And this is a Babette color, so it's limited. It's called Dragon's Flight, and it's in their Kira base, which is a heavy fingering. It's all superwash merino. It's a large put out. It's 560 yards, 8.3 ounces. This is a lot of yarn, so I can make a really big shawl with this. Not sure what I'm going to make. It's going to go with the gray, but I think the main color is going to be the green, and the gray is going to be the background. But we'll see. We'll see. Really happy with my Miss Babs purchase. I also grabbed some of her cute little turtle stitch markers, which were at the register. I don't know if you can see them all. I'll take a nice picture of them all spread out so you can see them. Miss Babs, she's so wonderful. Her booth is a man house, but she keeps considering all the traffic she gets. She kept it really under control. She made sure her line didn't block the traffic of the fair, so that, you know, other merchants could still get their business. And she had 3 registers set up so that the line, even though it was long, it moved. So, you know, kudos to Miss Babs. Oh, and did you see my shirt? I got a nice groovy shirt. Lastly, at the very, oh no, not lastly. Oh, you know what? I think we did this Saturday. Mark and I, before we left, went to, oh, what's the booth that has Socks That Rocks? I forget the booth that has Socks That Rocks. But we went there and we picked out, it's become a tradition that we pick out a sock yarn. And this year Mark picked out County Clare. It's bright greens, kind of like pond scum greenish yellow, a bright blue, a deeper green, and a powdery blue. It's very pretty, very pretty. And then I picked out Sea Scum Run. They're very similar, really, except mine's missing this bright green, and I have more gray, yellow, and blue. I liked it. So that's what we got. But last thing on my list, I love the Into the World sock yarns, and last year there were some colors that had some teals and browns that I fell in love with, and so I wanted a skein of their sock yarn, and I picked the color Second Spring, their merino nylon blend, and here it is. So this will be a pair of socks for me. And I love it. It's a thin fingering, but it's got the nylon in it, so I'm sure it will be fine. It is super washed, but they say to hand wash it, but I'll probably machine wash it. And that is all the Rhinebeck haul. There's a helicopter coming up down the river, I should say, going south. Sorry about the noise. I guess I'll just try and wait a second. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things that I think that might interest you. That really interested me. I just didn't have the budget to spend money on it. And maybe my husband can take note of this, because I should have showed you, Mark. There was a jeweler there, silver jewelry with some with gems, and it's totally my thing. He sold charms, but he sold jewelry with the charms on it. I particularly love these earrings, but I loved everything he made. It was, I would call it reasonable for the craftsmanship. But like the earrings, I think were like $80 for sterling silver. A sterling silver charm, here's some of his charms, was $30. And I absolutely love it. I'm definitely going to buy something from him if he's there again next year, if not online when I can afford it more. It's all kind of natural, woodsy, outdoorsy, like a picnic basket. And I was thinking I would love to start a charm bracelet and every year get a new charm from him at Rhinebeck. He has a canoe. I love canoeing. I just love everything he had. His name is Spruce Mountain Designs. Spruce-mountain.com is his website. We design, create, and hand finish each piece of jewelry ourselves with careful attention to detail, and I have to agree that the details were just gorgeous. So I wanted to spread the word about him. The other person, this was actually something that appealed to Sandy, but I'm sure there's excuse me, other people out there that would love it. There was a woman walking around with a dress made of fabric that looked like knitted material. And Sandy inquired about it, and she said, there's nothing up on the website now, but to join the newsletter, and they'll because they'll be coming out soon, they order the fabric and then they custom sew the dresses based on your measurement. So here is Kristi Moore is she's a consultant for them. I guess LuLa is the name of the fabric. Here is the name of the brand. And then here is her contact information. Go check it out because it was really cool. A little too much for me, but like Sandy loved it, and I'm sure there'll be other people that will love it. And the other thing I wanted to share with you, and I don't know why I didn't buy a skein. I should have, because I have some Cormo in my stash that I wanted to get a natural color to knit something up with, and I just didn't think of it. But I'm thinking once I knit up some of my sweater stashes, I would love to have some Cormo wool to make in a natural cream color to make another fisherman sweater with. And this Fox Hill Farm, this farm had some beautiful Cormo yarn. It was very well spun, and it was just clean and beautiful. So let me give you information on that. Fox Hill Farm. Really, I love Cormo because it's nice and squishy, and but it's also warm. And she has blends, and she gave me a list of all her blends and weights. So yards per pound, and price per skein. I'm definitely going to purchase some of this yarn in the future. So that is about it. Sandy, Lori, Mark, my mother-in-law, and I all had dinner at an Italian restaurant closer to our home called Nicola's. It's down near Cold Spring, but it's not down near the river. It was right off of 9 on our way home. And it was just a lovely meal. It was a lovely end to the day. We were all exhausted, but it was just a great time for everyone, and I'm looking forward to next year. I hope you enjoy receiving the recap and everything. I hope you all know I wish the whole world could come. But anyway, here's the bag too. I got a bag from for this year. I'll share that too. And that is about it for Rhinebeck. I do want to show you real quick before I go that the Tamdu shawl that's almost done. I wanted to show it to you real quick. Like, I have just like about 12 more rows to go, and then it's a picot bind off. But here it is. Let's see. That's the wrong side. Let me show you. Here's the right side. I left off down here. Here's the marker from where I left off at the last podcast. So you know I've been really busy. But I really had wanted to wear this to Rhinebeck, but it just didn't happen. This is going to be one big, big shawl. And it's made out of the Spirit Trail Fiberworks Suna. I keep forgetting. And so it's soft and luxurious, and I love the colors. But I think this will be a finished object during the next podcast. I will see you in a couple of weeks. It will be after our trip to Stowe, Vermont. Sandy and I are going to Stowe, Vermont for a knitting retreat together. So there'll be lots to talk about and lots to show you when I see you again. Thanks for joining me. Bye.